Folks, I want you to take a look at a picture of this guy. And in case you don't know who that is, that's Larry Kudlow. He was formerly employed by Fox as a financial commentator, and President Trump picked him to be his top economic advisor. Now, this is just another example of someone who has drunk the Trump Kool-Aid. And I bring this gentleman up and the fact that he's drunk the Trump Kool-Aid for one simple reason. In case you are not aware of it, on June 1st, the United States issued tariffs 25% on steel and 10% on aluminum against our three largest trading partners. That would be Canada, Mexico, and the European Union. Now, you might scratch your head because these are our three biggest allies, okay? And in particular, Canada has stood with us shoulder to shoulder, side by side, in basically every military action that we have taken in the last 50 or more years. Donald Trump is a fucking idiot, okay? He's an idiot. As far as steel is concerned, if you're not aware of it, the U.S. exports more steel to the tune of $2 billion more steel to Canada than the U.S. imports from Canada. Yet, Donald Trump has seen fit to invoke the term of national security as for the reason in instituting the tariffs against Canada, Mexico, and Europe. Now, if Canada is such a national security threat, why have they stood with us anytime we've done something? That is total bullshit, okay? It's total bullshit. Donald Trump, basically, Mr. The Art of the Deal, he should change his name to the Art of Destroying a Deal. I say that because, one, Donald Trump walked us away from the Paris Accords as far as climate change is concerned. Everybody else, pretty much in the world, has signed on to that thing, yet the United States decides it's going to walk away. And the conditions for the climate accords basically were voluntary, and we basically set our own requirements. Yet that was not good enough for Mr. Trump. Donald Trump basically walked away from TPP, which, if we had joined, and again, TPP has formed, and now they have told us they don't give a damn what we do. But if we had been in on the TPP from the beginning, we would have had a strong voice, and that group is a major counterbalance to China, which we have designated as our #1 economic antagonist as far as trade is concerned. Donald Trump has walked away from the Iran nuclear deal. Now, Europe hasn't walked away from that, so I'm assuming, and again, that makes an ass out of you and me, that that deal may hold basically through the strength of the European partners or signers of that accord. But it could be hanging by a thread. Donald Trump basically has walked away from NAFTA. Why he did that, God only knows. Now, was NAFTA perfect? No, it wasn't. But to walk totally away from it and then to institute tariffs on Mexico and Canada, in my mind, appears to be an asinine move. Now, Canada's already announced that it's going to institute tariffs of its own. Mexico has done the same thing, and Europe has done the same thing. Now, the one thing about how they are planning on instituting their tariffs, they are planning on going after products that are produced in states that supported Donald Trump, which in my opinion is smart. Now, all of those farmers in the Midwest that were crying the blues about not being able to export their products and losing market share, which translates into less money for them, which translates into less employment, and we currently are at what, 3.9, 3.8, something like that. Well, if they can't export their products, they aren't going to, number one, have financial resources, number two, be able to maintain employment for people if there is less of a market for goods. So that is going to create economic hardship for them and for the rest of the country. Because the one thing that tariffs are guaranteed to do is cause prices to rise. We will be paying more for anything from cars to canned goods, because canned goods either use steel or aluminum. And if we are importing aluminum and it's costing 10% more for that, and steel 25% more, those cans of fruits, vegetables, or whatever are going to rise in price. Now, Mr. Kudlow went on two mainstream media networks this morning, and this prick had the nerve to dance around the fact that Donald Trump has made a huge mistake. And on one of the networks, they showed a previous clip from him where he stated that tariffs was a piss poor, if not disastrous idea, especially when instituting tariffs on our allies. It appears that Mr. Trump is determined to alienate us from Canada, Mexico, our two largest trading partners and closest allies for the most part, Europe, which we do a tremendous amount of business with, and which is home for NATO. He's already pissed off Australia with his antics. So basically, Trump has gone out there, and instead of making America great again, he basically is making America stand alone for once. And anybody will tell you, you're stronger when you work with allies versus working by yourself. Because if the retribution escalates, like I fear that it will, unless he pulls those tariffs off, folks, those tax cuts that the Republican Party has claimed are going to energize the American economy, those are going to be flushed down the toilet. If you drive a car, you've already noticed that gas prices are up anywhere from 50 cents to $1 a gallon versus this same period last year. And those prices are going to go nowhere but higher. So those few shekels, those few pennies that Donald Trump put in your pocket are going to be eaten up either through the increase in gasoline prices, through the increase in consumer cost for everyday goods, or from the increase that Mr. Trump has so graciously helped to establish in healthcare by killing the individual mandate. Folks, we're going to learn, and unfortunately it looks like we're going to learn the hard way. Pain is here, and it's only going to get worse. And guys like Larry Kudlow, who have drunken the Trump Kool-Aid and will get on national TV and claim how right Donald Trump is about all of this, they basically need to be brought to task. And unfortunately, places like Fox News are not going to do it. I was hoping that Chuck Todd might have done it, but even he basically soft-sold this guy. It looks like Donald Trump is above the law. It looks like Congress, which was created to be a check and balance on the presidency, has basically abdicated their responsibility in doing such. But there are a few Republicans out there who are finally, it looks like, seeing the light. Now, they haven't seen the light on racial issues. They haven't seen the light on Donald Trump screwing around with the Russians. But trade that's going to hit their constituents in the pocketbook, that one looks like it might have become a bridge too far. So let's see.